Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all under this truth from will do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the elect, until you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. Now I'm entitled this one, This World Uplifts Things That Don't Matter. Going into what our people are getting ready to celebrate. Christmas, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, not knowing that all hell's about to break loose. Because really the main reason why our people celebrate these holidays, from Valentine's Day, even 4th of July, when 4th of July has nothing to do with Jake, with the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But yet our people go the hardest to celebrate these holidays. They go out their way. They go into depth, to buy all these Christmas gifts, Christmas presents, because really they're invested in this world, because they've been indoctrined by the so-called white man Esau Edom to invest into this world, to invest into this society, to buy into this, this American dream, this American lifestyle, and it's gotten our people nowhere. Because our people think that, I'm gonna go out my way and buy gifts for all of my family, not knowing that all hell's about to break loose. Families are about to be divided amongst themselves, but yet Jake's still going out their way, breaking their neck, to keep the family so-called happy, to keep it together. Because if you was to tell your family, we're not celebrating Christmas no more, we're not celebrating New Year's Eve and Thanksgiving, they'll look at you like you got three heads. But that's how this world is. They uplift things that don't matter, the bread and circus, all these things that, all this folly that our people are involved in. And, there's nothing wrong with, watching, having some time, for some folly, but that's not at the forefront. Our people push this at the forefront. They December is all about Christmas and, that Christmas spirit. Yeah, our people, it's all about the Christmas spirit, eggnog and ugly sweaters, stocking, all this bullshit that don't matter, that's about to get our people put to death, because really they're out here worshiping other gods and other idols. Because Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai is not with Christmas, he's not with Thanksgiving, he's not with all these folly days that our people are so involved in. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 6. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. And that's what Babylon the Great America does. It exalts folly, it exalts foolishness, it exalts degenerate behavior. But yet, the truth, the laws, statutes, commandments, being at the forefront of how the world should be ran, that's pushed to the side. People look at that sideways, because America, it exalts the upside down, in a sense. We're in the upside down, like in that show Stranger Things. This is the upside down. But yet, those that have been given the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we're looked at sideways. We're looked at as crazy, bugged out, because how the world should be ran is by the laws, statutes, commandments being at the forefront. But yet, that's not being done. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And right now, we're in the season of doom and gloom, of all hell's about to break loose, getting in the right spirit, getting right with Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, while yet our people out here playing around, thinking that everything's a joke, that nothing's about to happen. But yet, that was put upon him by Yahweh Ba'ashem Shai, because he doesn't want majority of Jake to make it. So he's going to allow them to continue to celebrate these folly days, these pagan holidays, knowing damn well that they have nothing to do with the scriptures, with the Bible. No shit. All these holidays that our people love to celebrate, they're not in the scriptures, but yet if you tell them, hey, this is what you're supposed to keep, this is what you're supposed to not do, our people are like, nah, you crazy, you bugged out, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm doing it for the kids. Jump down to verse 4. It says, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. Right now, we're not in the time of laughing and dancing. We're in a time of weeping and mourning because we're in captivity. We're in slavery, but yet Jake is out here moving like they're free, they're sovereign. They can do whatever they want because Edom hasn't came down with that great wrath like that yet. But when he collapses this system, when he collapses this economy, then our people are going to go into that spirit of mourning and weeping, but it's going to be too late. You're not going to be weeping and mourning for the right reason. No, our people are going to be weeping and mourning because they have all their folly and distraction taken away, all their comforts. While the elect, they're going to be rejoicing. And, the elect in that time, they're going to be laughing and dancing because we're going to understand that we're almost going to be delivered, Lord willing, to be a part of that number. While the rest of our people, they're not going to be sighing and crying because they want to be delivered. No, they're going to be sighing and crying because they want this shit to continue. But it's not. Jump down to verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. And right now, our people think that it's the time of peace. That it's a time to love and, that Christianity vibration. Love everybody. Everything's okay. When it's obvious that we're in a time of war and a time to hate. We hate wickedness. We hate this devil being in rulership. We hate 2/3 of our people because of how they behave. They don't want to get right. They don't want to repent to Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. So ultimately, the Lord is going to have to put them to death. This is Isaiah 29 and verse 9. And it reads, stay yourselves in wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. So majority of our people, they're drunken off the Babylonian wine, the philosophies, the ideologies, because they've been in doctrine since, they've been over here. And then you have a lot of our people, they may live in other countries, but then they move over here and they get indoctrined by this Babylonian American way of living. Consuming, eat, drink, giving into marriage, all these things that aren't about to matter very soon. But ultimately it was Yahweh Bashmiel Shai that did that. Because you wonder, like, damn, here we're in the age of information. You have access to all sorts of information, including the holidays that you're about to celebrate and how they go back to paganism. But yet our people don't care. Letting you know that it was the Lord that did that. In this next verse, it says, verse 10, for the Lord Yahweh Bashmiel Shai have poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and that clothed your eyes, the prophets and your rulers, the seers had thee covered. So ultimately it was Yahweh Bashmiel Shai that put majority of our people to sleep, to not understand, to not wake up out of that trance of, I'm going to go celebrate Christmas. I'm going to buy all these gifts. I'm going to go into debt. I'm doing it for the kids. Not knowing that all hell's about to break loose. Here, shit, you celebrating Christmas on the 25th and then boom, the lights get shut out. Just like they did over there in San Francisco. But ultimately our people aren't going to realize till it's too late. Because they're going to keep exalting all this folly, all these distractions that don't have to do nothing with Yahweh Bashmiel Shai. But somebody has to be those 2/3. This is Matthew 24 and verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Yeah, and that's how it's going to be, Because right now, our people, they're not expecting who they ignorantly call JC, which his real name is Yahweh Shai in ancient Paleo-Hebrew, to come back in his lifetime, to crack the skies, to come back in a big fathership. And ultimately, they're not expecting a so-called black man to pop up in the skies. Says verse 37, but as the days of Noe, which is Noah's word, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Yeah, and back in the time of Noah, the sons of God, they were in that same spirit, worshiping whatever, folly days they had back then, before the flood. They were in that same spirit. Noah was out here warning Jake, warning the sons of God, to get right. There's a flood coming. You know, shit, all hell's about to break loose. But what did the sons of God do? Shit, laugh, scoff, mock, talk shit to Noah. And it's those same spirits coming back today. Here, we're telling our people there's about to rain nuclear missiles. All hell's about to break loose. You're going to see a time like no other, but yet our people are like, ha, 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 that's not going to happen. Nah, I'm going to continue to celebrate Christmas and whatever I got going on. I'm not worried about no missiles. I'm not worried about no Jacob's trouble. I'm not worried about no hour of temptation. That's what our people are saying. That's how they're behaving. There is those same wicked spirits during the time of before the flood that were scoffing at Noah, back here today. Verse 38, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And that's how it's going to happen. Our people are in the same spirit, and that folly spirit 24/7. You got Jay going to the clubs from Wednesday all the way till Sunday. Shit, you already know Jake is already about to get into folly mode. As soon as they get days off for the holiday. Verse 39, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So that's how it's going to happen. Our people, they're not going to realize what's happening and what's about to happen till it's too late. Because our people are always in that leave it to the last minute. But, this truth, salvation, this is not that. This ain't Christianity where you say, oh, I repent, when missiles about to fly over your head. You've been wicked all your life, and then all of a sudden, you got the micro C-hip inside of you. Oh, I repent. No, it's too late. This is Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Yeah, and the only ones who are going to wake up out of sleep, they have been given the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They have been given the Holy Spirit to understand. Damn, this place is about to wrap up. Babylon the Great America, this current kingdom being ran by Esau, Edom, it's about to be a wrap. And what comes with that is salvation. As this place gets destroyed, that great deliverance is also going to take place. But the only ones who are going to understand that are going to be the elect of the nation of Israel, starting with the 144,000, the rest of the elect, the large multitude. While our people, are going to be in that spirit of being asleep, not knowing what the hell's going on, not knowing that Babylon the Great is about to be destroyed. They're going to keep celebrating these holidays till they get hit by a missile, because our people don't understand, what times we're in. Our people have no sense of urgency, not knowing that all hell's about to break loose. But really, that was Yahweh Bashmi Shai that put it up on it, because he don't want majority of our people to get it. This is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 15. See, then you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So going into that word circumspect, looking around, being aware of your surroundings, knowing what's going on, knowing what prophecies are about to, happen. Shit. We're in the age of the digital age. All this cash and buying it in cash and currency being physical, that's being done away with. Starting next year, you can no longer use pennies, and that's just the beginning of it. Then it's going to be quarters, then it's going to be dollars. But our people don't look at it, all these things happen around the world, as biblical prophecy playing out. They look at it all, that don't mean nothing. It's just the next trend, the digital currency, digital dollar, that don't mean nothing. Not knowing that the hour of temptation is right around the corner. Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Yeah, shit. Being aware of what's going on. Our people don't know that we're in evil days. And if they do, they acknowledge it, but then, they just keep going on about their day. Verse 17, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Shai, is. And what is the will of the Lord? To destroy Babylon the Great, to destroy America by the way of thermonuclear missiles, to deliver his elect, only a small remnant, not the whole world, not the whole nation of Israel. To bring Esau, Edom down, the so-called white man, from his rulership position and to put him in slavery, not to deliver him, not to to give him a new body. Along with these heathens, they're not going to be delivered as well. The only ones who are going to be delivered are going to be the elect of the nation of Israel, starting with the 144,000 and that large multitude. The 1/3, not no damn heathen, not no damn, shit, Moabite, Hamite, no. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is solely coming to deliver his elect. But yet, our people are out here moving, wiggling around, not knowing that all hell's about to break loose. Verse 18, and be not drunk with wine, wherein excess, but be filled with the Spirit. And our people, they're drunken with the wine of this world, with the Babylonian wine, bugging the hell out, not knowing what's about to come next, because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is the one to put that spirit upon him. So majority of our people, they're not going to make it. This is Proverbs 22 and verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. And that's what's about to happen, because our people, they're not prudent. They don't foresee America being destroyed. They don't foresee that all hell's about to break loose. They don't foresee that the MOTB, which is the RFID micro C-HIB, is right around the corner. So the simple, which is majority of our people, the 2/3, they're going to pass on. They're going to get destroyed. They're going to get put to death, because they're out here playing around, playing games, consumed with folly 24/7, consumed with the bread and circus, with the holiday season, not knowing what the hell is about to happen upon the planet Earth. So majority of our people, they're just going to have to get put to death. The simple, but the prudent, which are the elect, they're going to be delivered through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. But that's pretty much the point. I pray this is edifying to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are in this truth from and who do well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom.